Good morning, students. Welcome to the English lecture. Last week we have already covered the first part of the 100 dresses. Today I'll start with the second part of this chapter. See, the 100 dresses part 2 is a sequel to the 100 dresses part 1. It continues the story of Wanda Petronsky, an American schoolgirl of Polish origin who had to quit her school because her classmates made fun of her. Describing the total reversal of the attitude of her classmates towards Wanda, the author writes about Peggy's and Maddie's feeling of guilt and repentance. Reversal means a change to an opposite direction. Like earlier, they were mocking at her, they were making fun of her, but now they totally changed, their attitude totally changed, and both of them were feeling guilty and they were repenting on their behavior for Wanda. See, the story also confirms the view that the children have an impressionable mind and can be easily molded. What is impressionable? Impressionable means easily influenced. The author says the children they have impressionable mind which can be easily influenced. So, let us start with the chapter, the 100 dresses, part 2. When the class was circling the room, the monitor from principal's office brought Mrs. Mason a note. Miss Mason read it several times and studied it thoughtfully for a while. Then she clapped her hands. Why were the students, they were circling the room? As in the previous chapter, we have read, as the contest was held, and the dresses, they were displayed by the students. So the students, while the class, they were circling the room to see the displayed designs. Miss Mason, what happened? All of a sudden, the monitor, he came from principal's office with a note in his hand. What did Miss Mason do? She read the note which was brought by the monitor from the principal office several times and studied it thoughtfully for a while. Then she clapped her hands. Why did she clap her hands? She just wanted to draw the attention of the class, and she waited for everyone to be quiet. She then announced that she had received. So that she brought attention class, everyone back to their seat. Now she told the students to be attentive in the class, and all the students, they settled to their seat. When the shuffling of feet had stopped and the room was still and quiet, Miss Mason said, I have a letter from Wanda's father that I want to read to you. Then, as the students, they settled down, then Miss Mason, the class teacher, she told the students, she then announced that she had received a letter from Wanda's father, and she told the students that she wanted to read that letter for them. Miss Mason stood there a moment, and the silence in the room grew tense and expectant. The teacher adjusted her glasses slowly and deliberately. Her manner indicated that what was coming, this letter was Wanda's father, was a matter of great importance. Everybody listened closely as Miss Mason read the brief note. Now, Miss Mason, she stood there. She stood in the class for a moment, and everybody was like curious to know what that letter was about. The teacher adjusted, and the teacher, Miss Mason, she adjusted her glasses slowly and deliberately before reading the letter to the class. This letter from Vanda's father was a matter, and everybody thought this was something important, was a matter of great importance. Everybody listened closely as Miss Mason read the brief note. Now, everybody was attentive to listen to the letter which Vanda's father had sent. Dear teacher, my Vanda will not come to your school anymore. Jake also. Jake was Vanda's brother. Jake also. Now we move away to a big city. No more holler Pollock. See, holler Pollock is an offensive word for Polish people. So this is an offensive word. So no more ask why funny name. Plenty of funny names in the big city. And now we are moving to a big city where we can find plenty of funny names, like my daughter, she had. So yours truly, Jen Petronsky. Now, Jen Petronsky, Vanda's father, he wrote a letter to Miss Mason. Why did he write? To express his displeasure, to express his annoyance at the bullying faced, at the exploitation faced by his daughter in the school. He informed Miss Mason that Vanda and Jake, they have quit school and their family would move to a big city where there are enough people who are not looked down upon by the other Americans, who are not exploited by the Americans. A deep silence met the reading of this letter. Now everybody was feeling bad. There was a deep silence because everybody was feeling bad, because now, as Vanda, she was a good girl and everybody was missing her, and everybody was feeling bad. Miss Mason took off her glasses, and Miss Mason, what did she do? She took off her glasses. The moment Miss Mason finished reading Vanda's father's letter of complaint, the entire class was hushed to deep silence. Everybody was in deep silence. The class felt guilty for having bullied, for having exploited, Vanda, and having compelled her to quit the school as well as the town. Miss Mason took off her glasses, and she took off her glasses, blew on them, and wiped them on her soft white handkerchief. Then she put them on again and looked at the class. Then she again wore her specs, and she looked at the class. When she spoke, her voice was very low. And when she was speaking to the students, her voice was very low, because she was also feeling bad. She was also feeling bad because that girl, Vanda, she had left the school because of the exploitation of the students. Then she put them on once again, looked at the class. I am sure that none of the boys and girls in room number 13 would purposely and deliberately hurt anyone's feelings because his or her name happened to be long unfamiliar one. I prefer to think that what was said in thoughtlessness. I know thoughtlessness means without thinking. I know that all of you feel the way I do, that this is a very unfortunate thing to have happened. What unfortunate thing had happened? Vanda, she has left the school because she was bullied. Unfortunate and sad, both. And I want you all to think about it. Now, see, after reading Vanda's father's letter, Miss Mason, she told the class that she was certain that no one had hurt Vanda's feelings, purposely or deliberately, purposely or intentionally, janbujke. She expressed faith. See, the faith she had in the students, the faith she had in her students. She expressed faith that it was all said in thoughtlessness, means without thinking, by mistake. She urged the class to think that it was unfortunate and sad to hurt someone's feelings simply because the person had a long unfamiliar name. The first period was a study period. And now, Maddie tried to prepare her lessons, but she could not put her mind on her works. Now, first period started, and she had a very sick feeling in the bottom of her stomach. Sick feeling means she was feeling uneasy. 2. She had not enjoyed listening to Peggy after Wanda how many dresses she had in her closet. But she had said nothing. She had stood by silently, and that was just as bad as what Peggy had done. Worse, she was a coward. At least Peggy had not considered they were being mean, but she, Maddie, had thought they were doing wrong. She could put herself in Wanda's shoes. And now, Maddie, she felt miserable after listening to the note from Wanda's father. When she came to know about Wanda, she was feeling miserable. She was very sad. She was feeling guilty. She could not put her mind to work. She was so much disturbed by this that she could not put her mind to work in the study period. And she had a very sick feeling in the bottom of her stomach. She had a feeling of uneasiness. She felt bad that she had remained a mute spectator. She had remained a dumb spectator. And to Wanda's bullying, even when she knew that the poor polished girl could not afford fancy dresses. And now, this is the guilt she's feeling. What guilt she is feeling? That when Peggy, she used to tease her, whenever Peggy used to tease Wanda, she used to ask about the dresses. So it was Maddie's duty. She would have stopped her. But she says that she used to stand dumb. She used to stand dumb, and this shows her cowardness. And she says, if she puts herself in Wanda's shoes, means if she were in the place of Wanda, so she would have also felt bad. Goodness, wasn't there anything she could do? Now she's repenting. She calls herself coward. Maddie was certainly right in thinking that her silence was as bad as Peggy's teasing, because she did not have the courage to stop the wrong that was being done in her presence. She felt that she was a coward who neither supported Wanda nor told Peggy that her action was wrong. Her action was insensitive. Goodness, wasn't there anything she could do? If only she could tell Wanda she had not meant to hurt her feelings. She turned around and stole a glance at Peggy. Goodness, wasn't there anything she could do? Now she's repenting. She has done nothing. If only she could tell Wanda she had not meant to hurt her feelings. She would have, like she says, I would have only told Wanda that my purpose is not hurting her feelings. She turned around and stole a glance at Peggy. But Peggy did not look up. And at once she stole a glance, means Nashi Shuraki said Peggy. She looked at Peggy. But Peggy, she was busy in her work. She did not look up. She seemed to be studying hard. It seemed that Peggy was studying hard. Well, whether Peggy felt badly or not, Maddie, had to do something. She had to find Wanda Petronsky. Maybe she had not yet moved away. Maybe Peggy would climb the heights with her, and they would tell Wanda she had won the contest, that they thought she was smart and the 100 dresses were beautiful. Now, Maddie wanted to apologize. Maddie wanted to feel sorry to Wanda, to make amends. She wanted to feel sorry for not supporting her. And she wanted to go to Wanda. she was thinking, might be Wanda, she might have not left to the city, to the place, new place. She might be there in Boggins Height. So she wanted to go there and she wanted to apologize her. And she was thinking, might be, Peggy might also go with her. She might also give the company, and they would tell Wanda she had won the contest. And they would go to Wanda and tell that she had won the contest and she was smart and 100 dresses were beautiful. The dresses which she had drawn were beautiful. When school was dismissed in the afternoon, when the dispersal was there, during dispersal time in the afternoon, Peggy said, with pretended casualness, "Hey, let's go and see if the kid has left town or not." See, Maddie was thinking to go. And Peggy, it seemed that she was busy in studies. So in this para, Peggy says, "Hey, let us go, move and see. Let us move to town, Boggins Height, and see whether that girl she has left or not." So Peggy had the same idea. Both the friends, Peggy and Maddie, they had the same idea. Maddie glowed. Peg was really all right. Glowed, happy. Maddie was very happy. She was very happy because Peggy was also thinking the same thing as Maddie. Both of them, they wanted to visit Wanda. The two girls hurried out. The two girls hurried out of the building. Now they moved out of the building, of the school building, up the street towards the Boggins Height, the part of the town that wore such a forbidding air on this kind of a November afternoon, drizzly, damp, and dismal. Now they say, what did they feel there when they reached the Boggins Heights? They felt that the place was depressing. The place was depressing. Boggins Heights, that place was forbidding, that was unfriendly, and that was depressing place. Well, at least, said Peggy, I never did call her a foreigner. Then, what did Peggy say? She said that she never called her, she was a foreigner. She was not an American. She would or make fun of her name, and never made fun of her name. I never thought she had the sense to know we were making fun of her anyway. And now she adds this also. They used to think that that girl is dumb. She doesn't know anything. So she says, I never thought she has the sense to know that we are making fun of her. I thought she was too dumb. And Gee, look how she can draw. See, the dress is the way. Means Peggy, she underestimated Wanda. This is a sort of Peggy underestimated Wanda, that she used to think that she's dumb and she doesn't know anything, and we used to make fun of her. I thought she doesn't have sense to know that that they were making fun of her. Now, Maddie could say nothing. All she hoped was that they would find Wanda. And now they were in hope to meet Wanda. She wanted to tell her that they were sorry they had picked on her. They had picked on her means they had made fun of her. And how wonderful the whole school thought she was. And please, not to move away. And everybody would be nice. She and Peggy would fight anybody who was not nice. Up now they are thinking. Then, when they will meet Wanda, so they will apologize her and tell her that everyone is missing her a lot and nobody is going to exploit her. Suppose if anybody does wrong with her, so Peggy and Maddie, they are there to support her. The two girls hurried on. Now they hurried on. They hoped to get the top of the hill before dark. They wanted to move. I think that's where the Petronskis live. Now they reached to Boggins Heights and they were just assuming the place where this is the place where Petronsky lived. Said Maddie, pointing to the little white house, wisp of old grass stuck up here and there along with the pathway like thin kittens. Now, wisp of grass, small bunches of grass. It looked like the little kittens. The house and its sparse little yard looked shabby, and it looked shabby but clean. It reminded Maddie of Vanda's one dress, her faded blue cotton dress, shabby but clean. You might remember in part first, it was said that Vanda, she used to wear only one single light blue colored dress that was faded, that was shabby but clean. Shabby but clean, shabby in the sense it was not iron, but it was clean. There was not a sign of life about the house. It seemed, when they reached Bogan Heights, it seemed that nobody was there. Peggy knocked firmly on the door. And Peggy, she knocked at the door. And she went around to the backyard and knocked there also. Still there was no answer. They did not get any answer. There was no doubt about it. The Petronskis were gone. How could they ever make amends? And now, no doubt, Petronskis, they had gone, and how could they ever make amends? How will, now they were thinking, how will they feel sorry? How will they show that they are feeling bad? How will they feel sorry to Vanda as she was not there? They turned slowly and made their way back to down to hill. Now they turned slowly and they started moving back. Well, anyway, said Peggy, she's gone now. So what can we do? Now they're thinking she's left the place up. What will they do? How will they feel sorry? Besides, when I was asking her about all her dresses, she probably was getting good ideas for her drawings. She might not even have won the contest. Now, Maddie thought about the entire sequence of events that had compelled Vanda to quit the school. And now she was thinking, and they were like feeling guilty. And now they were consoling themselves. They wanted to hide their guilt. And Peggy is consoling herself. She's saying that every day I used to talk about the dresses. And from that only she got the idea. Because of that, she got the ideas. Because of that, she got the ideas of the dresses, different dresses. And she won the contest. She might have not even won the contest. She says that she just wanted to hide. She's hiding her guilt. She's feeling sorry. But to console herself, she's saying all this. Maddie turned this idea carefully over in her head. Maddie also, this sense. Because this sense, which sense? Like every day, Peggy, she used to ask about the dresses. And because of those asking about the dresses, Vanda, she got the ideas of new dresses. That is the reason she won the contest. And Maddie turned this idea carefully over her head. This sense did not feel sorry. This sense that she had won the contest just because of Peggy, this sense did not feel sorry. But that night she could not get to sleep. She was not able to sleep. Maddie, she was not able to sleep. She thought about Vanda and her faded blue dress and the little house she had lived in. And she thought of glowing picture, those 100 dresses made, all lined up in the classroom. Now she was thinking all night, throughout the night, she was thinking about the 100 dresses, about the dress she used to wear, about the 100 dresses lined up in the classroom. At last, Maddie sat up in bed and pressed her forehead tight in her hands and really thought this was the hardest thinking she had ever done. After a long, long time, she reached an important conclusion. And she says that this was the first time, never ever, she had this type of a thought. She was never going to stand by and say nothing again. Now she says, now she will speak up against the person who exploits anyone. If she ever heard anybody picking on someone, if she ever heard anybody treating someone unkindly or badly because they were funny looking or because they had strange names, because of the names of or their looks, on the basis of looks and dresses, if anybody will treat anyone unkindly, then definitely she will speak up, she will not keep quiet, she will fight against it. Even if it meant losing Peggy's friendship. And she says, even if she will lose friendship, then it hardly matters. But she will speak up against a person who exploits anyone. She had no way of making things right with Wanda. But now she cannot, because they were left with no way. Because Wanda, she had already left, and she says that she cannot do friendship, she cannot feel sorry, Wanda, as she has left. But from now on, she would never make anybody else that unhappy again. Now, there's a resolution she had taken that in future she's not going to exploit anyone, and the person, if someone exploits anyone, so she'll speak against it. She will take a step. On Saturday, Maddie spent the afternoon with Peggy. Now, Saturday, Maddie spent afternoon with Peggy. They were writing a letter to Wanda Pratonsky. It was just a friendly letter telling about the contest and telling Wanda she had won. And they were writing the letter. And they did not apologize in this letter. See, just friendly letter telling about. They told her how pretty their drawings were, and they asked her if she liked where she was living and if she liked her new teacher. They had meant to say they were sorry, but it ended up with their just writing a friendly letter, the kind they would have written to any good friend, and they signed it with lots of X's. X's means to indicate love, to feel sorry for love. They mailed the letter to Boggins Heights, writing, "Please forward on the envelope." Now, Peggy and Maddie, they wrote a letter to Wanda. And Peggy and Maddie, they did not apologize to Wanda. In their letter, directly, they did not apologize. They considered Wanda as their friend. Every good friendship allows space for some harmless fun at each other's cost. So, they let bygones be bygones and wrote the letter as it is written to any good friend, signing it with lots of X for love. And they wrote the letter. They mailed the letter to Boggins Heights, writing, "Please forward on the envelope." Days passed and there was no answer. Days passed, they wrote the letter but did not receive any answer. But the letter did not come back, so maybe Wanda had received it. Perhaps she was so hurt and angry she was not going to answer. You could not blame her. Now they were just assuming. Days passed, and Peggy and Maddie, they did not receive any reply from Wanda. They thought that Wanda was deeply hurt and angry. Maddie, she was more anxious about it than Peggy. As Peggy gradually started forgetting about the entire business which was held with Wanda. However, Maddie would put herself to sleep night making speechless about Wanda, defending her from the great crowds of girls who tried to tease her about her dresses. And now, weeks went by, still Wanda did not answer. Peggy had begun to forget the whole business. Peggy, she stopped. She started forgetting everything, as I told you. And Maddie put herself to sleep at night, making speeches about Wanda, defending her from great crowds of the girls who were trying to tease her. And now Peggy forgot all the matter. Maddie, during her sleep, she was with Wanda to comfort herself. Now Peggy forgot all the matter, but Maddie, during her sleep, she was with Wanda, and she wanted to comfort herself. Now it was Christmas time and there was snow on the ground. Now the Christmas time, it arrived. Christmas bells and small tree decorated the classroom. On the last day of the school, before the holidays, the teacher showed the class a letter she had received that morning. Finally, The Christmas holidays, they were about to start. It was a Christmas time. Christmas bells and small tree were decorated. And on the last day of the school, finally, the last day, the teacher showed the class a letter she had received that morning from Wanda. You remember Wanda Petronsky, the gifted little artist who won the drawing contest. And now she's telling the class teacher, Miss Messon, she's asking whether the students remember Wanda Petronsky, who won the drawing contest. Well, she has written me, and I'm glad to know where she lives. And now, Miss Messon, she tells the students that now she knows her whereabout, where she lives, because now I can send her medal. I want to read her letter to you. But now she says that now, as Mrs. Messon, she had come to know about her whereabouts, about the place where she lived. So she will send the medal she had won in the contest, and she said that she wanted to read the letter for everyone. The class sat up with a certain interest and listened intently. Intently is carefully. Now the class sat, everybody settled, and they listened to the letter carefully. Dear Miss Messon, how are you? Room number 13. Please tell the girls they can keep those 100 dresses, because in my new house I have 100 new ones. All lined up in my closet. I would like that girl Peggy to have the drawing of the green dress with the red trimming, and her friend Maddie to have the blue one. For Christmas, I miss that school, and my new teacher does not equalize with you. Merry Christmas to you and everybody. And now, this is the expression of Wanda, that she was hurted, that the remarks, that the exploitation, that the students, they used to make fun of her. It hurted her a lot. And she tells her class, and she tells Miss Messon that there are 2 dresses, one for Peggy and one for Maddie, and rest tell the students they can keep all this dresses with them, as I have already prepared 100 more dresses. And she says that she miss Miss Messon because teacher does not that my new teacher does not equalize with you. She's not like you. Merry Christmas to you and everybody. And she wished everybody Merry Christmas. Yours truly. On the way home from school, Maddie and Peggy held their drawings very carefully. And Maddie and Peggy, as Wanda, she had written on a letter, they took their drawings. All the houses had wreaths and holly in the windows. Outside the grocery store, hundreds of Christmas trees were starred, and in the window, candy, peppermint sticks, and corn pies of shiny transparent paper were strung. And now, everywhere, because of the Christmas, that was Christmas season, it was decorated, and candy, peppermint sticks, corn pies of shiny transparent paper was strung in the grocery windows. The air smelled like Christmas, and the light shining everywhere reflected different colors on the snow. There. Boy, said Peggy, this shows she really likes us. And now, it shows she got our letter, and this is her way of saying that everything is all right, and that's that. And Peggy said that this shows the way she has treated Peggy and Maddie, like she has given them dresses. So this shows that she loved them a lot. I hope so, said Maddie sadly. She felt sad because she knew she would never see the little, tight-lipped, polished girl again, and could not ever really make things right between them. I hope so, Maddie also said sadly, but she was sad. Maddie was feeling very bad because she wanted to meet Wanda and feel sorry. But Maddie noticed that Wanda's gifts to her and Peggy were special. They had brilliant colors And now Maddie was overwhelmed to receive such a special Christmas gift from Vanda, the dresses. She was touched by the large-hearted gesture of the Polish girl, who had not only forgiven their insensitive behavior, but had also reciprocated their friendship. So, now she was feeling sad because she was she would never see that little girl, Polish girl again, and she could not make the things right between them. She went home and she pinned her drawings over the torn place in the pink flowered wallpaper in the bedroom. Now Maddie, she went home, and what did she do? There was a torn place in her drawing room, so she pinned that dress which was gifted to her by Vanda in her bedroom. She went home and pinned her drawing, the drawing which Vanda she has gifted them to Maddie. She went there and she pinned that drawing over a torn place in the pink flowered wallpaper in her bedroom. The shabby room came alive from the bedroom. And she says the shabby room, it became alive. It started with the colors were so brilliant and shiny that her room came alive. Maddie sat down on her bed and looked at the drawings. Now Maddie, she sat down and looked at her drawings. She had stood by and said nothing. She had stood by and said nothing. She never protected her from the exploitation. She never protected her the way she was treated. Vanda had been nice to her anyway, and she felt that Vanda, she had been very nice to her because after being made fun, then also she had gifted them the dresses. Tears blurred her eyes and she gazed for a long time at the picture. Now Maddie was overwhelmed. She was overjoyed to receive such a special Christmas gift from Vanda that her eyes, tears blurred her eyes. Then hastily she rubbed her eyes and studied it intently, and carefully she studied. She became emotional. She became overwhelmed, and her tears started flowing. The colors in the dress were so vivid that she had scarcely noticed the face and the head of the drawing. See, the colors were so bright. She did not notice that there was a face with the dress. It really looked like her own mouth, and it looked like Maddie's own mouth. Why, it really looked like her own self. Vanda had really drawn to this for her. Excitedly she ran. Now when she saw the drawing also, she was so much excited. She was so much happy that she at once ran to Peggy. She went to Peggy. Peg, she said, let me see your picture. And she asked Peggy to see the picture. What's the matter? Asked Peggy as they clattered up to her room. As they ran up to her room where Vanda's drawing was lying face down on the bed. Maddie carefully raised it. She raised the drawing. Look, she drew you. See, there's your face on this drawing. That's you, she exclaimed. And see, this is your picture, Peggy. And the head and the face of this picture did not look like Peggy. And the head and the face of this picture did look like Peggy. See, the head and the face, it looked like Peggy. What did I say? Said Peggy. She must have really liked us anyway. And now, see, this is the way they're consoling themselves. Peggy said, yes, I told you, she liked us a lot. That is the reason she has sent this drawing for us. Yes, she must have, agreed Maddie. And she blinked away the tears that came every time she thought of Vanda standing alone in the sunny spot in the schoolyard. And now, looking sturdily stolidly. Stolidly is not showing any feeling. बिना किसी feeling के खड़े रहना. Over the group of laughing girls after she had walked off, after she had said, sure, 100 of them all lined up. Now, Wanda wasn't she? And now, Maddie, yes, she must have. Yes, she loved her, agreed Maddie. And Maddie, she had gone to the past and she remembers each and everything. Like Vanda, she's standing alone in the sunny spot in the schoolyard, looking, showing showing no feelings over at the group. When the group of the girls, they used to exploit her, when they used to make fun of her, she stood there without any feelings. And definitely, after she had walked off, after she had said, sure, 100 of them all lined up. And the same question was repeated. She was remembering the scene of the past and weeping. She was like remembering the scene of the past, like Vanda. She was standing alone in the sunny spot. Girls, they were making fun of her. And she was just asked one question, how many dresses? And the answer was, sure, 100 of them all lined up. Now, this is the end of the chapter. If you face any problem, you are free to call me. Thank you. Have a nice day.